In this video, we're going to be looking at how to find slope from a table using the TI-84 calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and get my calculator out and set it right here to the side. And I want you to notice in this table that we have X on the left and Y on the right. Now I know on some tables they have a description here and they have a description over here on the right. And it doesn't say X or Y. So just know that anytime you see a vertical table where the numbers run from top to bottom, that the left side is always the X and the right side is always the Y. Now what we want to do, if we want to go ahead and we want to find the slope, is we're going to use our stat button. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. We're going to go ahead and go to your calculator and hit STAT for stat. Once you hit stat, you're going to go ahead and you're going to hit enter so that you can enter into your spreadsheet. And notice we have L1 and L2. L1 is going to be where you place your X values, and L2 is going to be where you place your Y values. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with this X value 1. So I'm going to put all the X values in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now you do have to click down before going over to the right. Otherwise it won't let you go over to L2. Now we're in L2, we're going to put all of our Y values, starting with -3. So I'll put -3, -1, +1, 3, and 5. And now I've clicked down. I have all my X values in the left column and all my Y values in the right column. From this point, you're going to go ahead and hit stat again. And then you're going to go ahead and click to the right to go to calc. And this is for slope of a linear equation. So we're going to go ahead and go down to what we call linreg ax plus b. That's option 4. You're going to hit enter. And then just keep hitting enter until it pulls up. Now when they give you these values right here, notice it says y equals ax plus b. Notice a is the variable in front of the x, or to the left of the x. And that a is represented as the slope, right? Because it's usually y equals mx plus b. So all we got to do is look at our a value, and in this case it says a is equal to 2. Therefore the slope is 2. So I'm going to write underneath it, the slope, also known as the rate of change, is equal to 2. And that's all there is to it. So now let's look at another example that looks just a little bit different. On table number 2, notice instead of X and Y, we have X on the left and we have f of X on the right. Just keep in mind that f of X is equal to Y. In other words, it's just another way of saying Y. So even though it says f of X, this represents your Y values and the left side represents your X values. Now one thing that I want to tell you is when you're looking at this, just be sure that you're putting all these columns and their decimals in the right side and these whole numbers in the left. And we're still going to use the stat feature. So I'm going to go over, I'm going to click on stat, I'm going to hit enter to enter into my spreadsheet. I am going to hit the delete button to delete my old values from the last problem. And now I'm going to type in all my X values. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'm going to put in my Y values, starting with 4.75, 4.75, 5.5, 6.25, 7, and 7.75. So I have all my X values in, all my Y values in. Do notice, right, that the X is on the left side and the Y is on the right side, because that's how all vertical tables are. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit stat again, click to the right to go to calc, go down to option 4 for linreg ax plus b, and I'll hit enter until it pops up. And in this case, notice it says the slope is 0.75. So m is equal to 0.75. Now sometimes on the star, they're going to want you to put this in as a fraction. So if they have multiple choice, it may show fractions and it may not show this decimal form. So if that happens to you, there's a couple things you can do. First of all, you can actually hit clear and you can go to your regular calculate, and you could take all the answer choices they have and simply divide them out. For instance, let's say an answer choice was 5/8. You would do 5 divided by 8 and it would give you the decimal. And you can check every answer they have to see which one is the correct decimal. Now the other thing you can do is you can actually type in the decimal you got using that spreadsheet function, And we can go ahead and turn this into a fraction by hitting the math button. And then notice the first option says fraction. So then we hit enter 2 times. Enter, enter. And it converts it to a fraction. So in this case, we can see that we can also write that slope of 0.75 as simply 3/4. Now let's look at example 3. Now for example 3, notice we have this horizontal table. Notice that on horizontal tables, the top is always x and the bottom is always y. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to type those values in. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to my table by hitting stat, hit enter, and I'm going to delete out my old values. And in this case, we just have 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the x. So under column L1, I'll put 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then on the right, I have 1/3. Now I'm going to use my alpha y equals enter button, so I can type in fractions, and I'll put in 1/3. So you can see it down here. It's letting me enter 1/3. I'll click down, and then alpha y equals enter again, and put 2/3. And then I'll put the next one, which is 1, and then the final one, which is 4/3. So I got all my values in, the x values on the left, the y values on the right. So what I want to do now is hit stat, go to calc, go down to linreg ax plus b, hit enter. And it looks like my slope is this a value, which is 0.3 repeating. So I'm going to write m equals 0.3, and it's a whole bunch of them. Now once again, if you're doing the STAR test, you want to convert this to a fraction in some instances, especially if they have multiple choice and they have fractional values. So there's 2 things you could do, right? You can go and convert all the answer choices into decimals and see which one matches, or you can simply put this in the calculator, and I usually just type it a bunch of times, about 10, 11, somewhere like that, and then after I type those in, I hit math and enter. Notice it converts it to a fraction and says the slope is 1/3. And that's how you find slope from a table with your calculator.